First, we have the marketunist, Tom Fishburne. After incorporating everyone's feedback, our special tonight will be a dish of plain hot water. Hot water, hot may be polarizing. Better make it lukewarm. And that's kind of the theme of today's show. On the other hand, here we go with a new ad by Progressive.
You ever wish you weren't a Mo-taur?
Sure. Sometimes I wish I had legs like you.
Yeah, is it like a regular person?
No. Still have bike half man. Just the opposite.
What's the legs on the bottom and motorcycle on the top? Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
Get it? Born to ride? Okay, so anyway, too silly. This guy's born to ride, meaning he's instead of a Minotaur, he's a Mo-taur, which has a motorcycle on the bottom. Anyway, I don't know if that'll catch on. It seems too stupid for words, but that isn't up to me, right? Let's get back to here. Okay. I always like stories that have some merit in terms of actually driving sales. And here's Panera Bread and Mark Bernito, not sure how to say that. We'll send him a link. And he goes to work for Panera Bread, and I go there sometime, although it's like carb heaven. So when I'm on the keto diet, this is a tip for you, Mark. When I'm on the keto diet, you basically can't go near. I like the coffee. You can't go near Panera Bread. I'm going on the keto like today. I finished off my breakfast cereal this morning. I had a half a bowl. That was all that was left. No more. I'm not buying any more for now a couple months. Okay, for personalization, a customer now expects you to know who they are, where they are in the world, and what they value, and then orchestrate the service around them. That perspective of how can we deliver better service. The whole ethos around Amazon was you used to have to go to a bookstore and say, I'd like this book, and they'd say, well, we don't have it in stock. I'll order it for you. They'd type on their little CRT thing, and it would come in a week or two, and you could go get it. 2 trips to the bookstore and 2 weeks wait. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, drove across the country and said, I could do that better. He convinced the Bookstore Association to let him access that, let him have a terminal, and he then opened that terminal up to the internet, and the rest is history. And they keep thinking about how can they get it to you sooner, okay? Now, this scares me a little. We're trying to further understand why that person bought the salad. Maybe it's the only thing in there that isn't carb-loaded. But with a name like Panera Bread, I doubt if you could do the carnivore diet there. But, okay, that's one of them for me. So now you know. But the point is that how can we make breakfast easier for people? A great point. And then he tells a story about how to use the mobile app. It always kind of bothers me that I have to download apps when I only go to Panera once in a blue moon. There's one not too far from here. But if you go every day, it's nice to have a good app. They should also have alternatives for people who don't necessarily have the app. Always think about your mobile site, okay? But basically, it's good. It's good about how to make breakfast easier, okay? Now, Ritson, who I always like to read, talks about The Guardian, and basically he's saying that The Guardian doesn't have a paywall. I don't personally read The Guardian very often. I have used it sometimes by accident as a news source. But they don't have a paywall. They ask they ask you to subscribe, and they suggest you give a donation. And he says this is a bad business model for everybody else who wants to put up a paywall. Well, back in the early days, you probably were still in high school or earlier, Mark. In 1995, there was a lot of content that wasn't available. It wasn't paywall; it was just not available. I had a site where you had to at least give us your name and address. This was in about 95, 96, so it was fairly common that you didn't have access to the full New York Times or something else. And some people, always had paid paywalls. It's not something that everybody went all in to be free. The problem is that there was a lot of free content all the time, forever. The internet has always been about freewalled content instead of paywalled content, and that's just that's because there's a sense that I do this for free. YouTube is free. I do this for free because I want to have a voice in the conversation, and to the extent that I promote this and do a lot of advertising, I'll get followers. I know how to get followers. The question is my content worthy? And so I do it for free. I hope people subscribe and I hope they comment, etc. But that's not the Guardian's fault. If you don't want to read the Guardian, I mean, I get the email from the Jerusalem Post every day also. So Google sends me an email. Marketing Week that you write for sends me one. As far as I know, their content is free. I don't know how they do it. It doesn't bother me. I don't think about it too much. Okay? So I don't think, Mark, you can attack the paywall and say the Guardian is wrong for not having one. And I think you're right to say that their transition has been good. But here's one of the big problems, and I really like this article. It says, rewarding marketers for effort rather than revenue can do more harm than good. Excellent article by Thomas Barda. I gotta write to him. He's now following me or connected with me. Forbes found that 69% of CEOs believe their company's marketing money is wasted. Absolutamente. I told that story about one of my clients who hired a bunch of digital guys, and they said they spent about $1 million in influence-driven advertising, digital banner ads and stuff. And they were giving away about 50% of the margin of the product. And they said, but our revenue is more than the cost of our advertising. Yeah, but with the couponing and all the rest of the stuff and the affiliate network, it was impossible to make any money. And the customers they generated with couponing were 1/4 the value of the traditionally acquired customers. So they were wrecking the brand. They were wasting money, and they had no clue. And this is the problem with most marketing. In my book, Spinning Straw into Gold, I say maybe we should lock the marketers in a room, and unless they spin the straw into gold, tomorrow you shall die. Nothing like Grimm's fairy tales to give you some clarity. Anyway, and the problem, he says, is that marketers are not only these smart young marketers were trained in university by bosses that don't have skin in the game. The professors don't have skin in the game, right? And what we're raising up is the marketing leadership that doesn't have any skin in the game, and they just don't understand why the CEO cares, and that's because they want to make a living. They want to make money. They want to keep the company employed. And so you got to have skin in the game. And that's the benefit. That's the great benefit of direct marketing. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, go to the site, scientificadvertising.com. It was written 100 years ago. It's free there, no paywall. And you can learn about the foundational principles of advertising and testing and why those two fit together. And that will drive sales. That's the way you got to think. I'm John Miglosh. Have a great day. Subscribe on Periscope, periscope.tv/John Miglosh, and then you'll get notified